Part 1: A lonely childhood and a ray of light in the darkness. On a freezing winter night, December 25, 1642, in a small village called Woolsthorpe by Colsterworth in Lincolnshire, England, a fragile child was born. People said the boy was so tiny, so weak, that no one believed he would survive the winter. But that child did survive and would grow up to become one of the greatest minds humanity has ever known, Isaac Newton. Greatness, however, did not arrive early. Before the world knew the name Newton, he was just a lonely child, fatherless, loveless, and devoid of a normal childhood. His father, also named Isaac Newton, had died just months before his birth. His mother, Hannah Askow, a practical and emotionally distant woman, remarried 2 years later to an elderly minister in a distant town. She left young Isaac with his grandmother and moved away. Raised without warmth, Newton developed a quiet, introspective, and independent personality from a very young age. In the quiet brick house surrounded by green fields, Newton grew up without many friends. He was silent, withdrawn, and spent hours observing the sky, plants, and animals as if he was searching for something beyond the physical world. Even as a child, Newton showed a unique passion for inventing. While other children played, he constructed miniature machines, a windmill powered by mice, a sundial made of twigs and stones, even a large spooky kite that scared the entire village into thinking a ghost had appeared. He spent every spare coin on tools, hammers, saws, chisels, files, anything that could help him build and create. Villagers thought Newton was odd and strange, but they had no idea that these quiet experiments were forging a brilliant mind and a mastery of mechanics. Yet talent alone could not shield him from pain. Small and shy, Newton was often bullied when he finally began attending school at the late age of 12. Initially, his academic performance was poor. But one event changed everything. After being mocked and humiliated by classmates, Newton did not retaliate with fists. Instead, he silently vowed to outshine them all intellectually. From that moment, he studied relentlessly. Within months, he not only caught up with his peers but surpassed them, becoming the top student in his class. It was his first victory won not by force, but by sheer will and intellect. At age 15, Newton completed grammar school and returned home. His mother, who had by then been widowed again, wanted him to give up studies and manage the family estate. She hoped he would become a merchant, a practical and profitable career. But Newton loathed trade. When assigned to sell goods at the Grantham market, he handed the job off to a servant and slipped away to a local apothecary's house. Where he read and solved math problems all day. So began his deep immersion into the world of numbers and theories. While others saw numbers as dry and abstract, Newton saw the architecture of the cosmos, the rules behind every natural event, and mysteries yet to be unraveled. Fortunately, two people recognized Newton's rare talent, his uncle and his former teacher, Henry Stokes. Together, they persuaded his mother to let him continue his education. Reluctantly, she agreed. In June 1661, at the age of 18, Newton was admitted to Trinity College at the University of Cambridge, one of England's most prestigious institutions. It was a time of great transformation in England. The English Revolution was shaking the monarchy. Capitalism was rising. And a new wave of intellectualism was sweeping across Europe, from Descartes' philosophy to Galileo's astronomy. There, among ancient stone walls and libraries brimming with books, Newton flourished. He devoured every volume he could find, from Euclid to Kepler, from Plato's philosophy to natural science. But he did not simply absorb knowledge, he questioned it. Instead of believing, he inquired. Newton didn't just learn, he rebuilt. And that marked the beginning of history, writing his name among the brightest stars of the scientific revolution. Part 2: The Light of a Scientific Revolution. Isaac Newton walked through the gates of Trinity College at the University of Cambridge. He wasn't merely entering a prestigious academic institution, he was stepping into his own destiny. At that time, England was undergoing great upheaval. The monarchy was being challenged by the English Revolution. Feudal ideologies were being eroded by waves of intellectual awakening and commercial reform. Amid that chaos, a quiet mind began to reshape the foundations of human knowledge. At Cambridge, Newton was not a social figure. He had no close friends, did not attend lively gatherings or academic salons. Instead, he lived in a world of his own where mathematical formulas, philosophical ideas, and celestial phenomena became his companion. For hours on end, he read and took notes voraciously from Descartes and Galileo to Euclid and Kepler. But he didn't just read to repeat. Newton read to change. He questioned classical theories, challenged every law and phenomenon. And like many students who passively absorb knowledge, Newton debated his professors, disputed textbooks, and even questioned himself. It was not arrogance, but a quiet confidence that a deeper order was waiting to be discovered beneath the surface of the visible world. In 1665, at the age of 23, England was struck by a devastating plague. Universities were forced to shut down. And Newton returned to his hometown of Woolsthorpe to escape the epidemic. While others saw this as a time of darkness, Newton turned it into his annus mirabilis, his miracle year. In that peaceful countryside, with no mentors, limited books, and no advanced laboratory, Newton formulated ideas that would forever transform science. Calculus, to describe the changing and cumulative nature of quantities. Optics, where he proved that white light was composed of multiple colors. And most famously, the law of universal gravitation. The story goes that Newton, while sitting under a tree, saw an apple fall. But instead of dismissing it, he asked, "Why does the apple always fall straight down?" And never sideways or upward. That simple question sparked a revolution of thought. Newton pondered, if the apple is pulled by Earth, perhaps the moon is held in orbit by the same force. Thus, the idea of gravity was born, a mysterious force that holds everything in the universe, from dust to galaxies, in place. Upon returning to Cambridge in 1667, Newton continued his education and soon became a professor. But what set him apart was not the title, it was how he synthesized all scattered knowledge into one coherent system. Until then, science was largely descriptive and fragmented. Newton was the first to transform it into a predictive, testable, logical structure. In 1687, Newton published his monumental work Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. Arguably the most influential scientific book ever written. There, he introduced his three laws of motion. 1. The law of inertia: a body in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by a force. 2. The law of force: force equals mass times acceleration, F equals ma. 3. The law of action and reaction: every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Together with his law of universal gravitation, these laws became the backbone of classical mechanics, explaining everything from a falling stone to planetary orbits. They are so precise that even NASA continues to use them today to plot spacecraft trajectories. Newton also revolutionized optics. He built the first reflecting telescope, which used a curved mirror instead of lenses, reducing chromatic aberration. His invention made telescopes smaller, clearer, and more accurate, opening the heavens for deeper exploration. Through a simple prism, Newton demonstrated that white light was not singular but composed of a spectrum of colors. This groundbreaking discovery overturned centuries of misconceptions and laid the foundation for modern optical science. Yet Newton was more than just a physicist or mathematician. He was a synthesizing intellect capable of connecting disciplines that seemed unrelated. He was a synthesizing intellect capable of connecting disciplines that seemed unrelated. Besides physics and math, he wrote extensively on theology, alchemy, and even politics. Newton believed that every system from the cosmos to human society followed principles that could be understood, modeled, and ultimately predicted. This is what set him apart. Newton didn't merely observe the world. He sought to explain it, to organize it, and to reconstruct it through the power of logic. He was not just discovering the universe, he was redefining it.